Okay. This is a story about a lesson I learned when I was 12 years old. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, a block and a half away from the produce warehouses and the produce boxcars that used to come in to unload the produce. Well, my buddy and I, Pete, decided to play bank robbers and stagecoach robbers because of a movie we just see. So we walked on down to where the railroad tracks were, and here's all these empty boxcars. And there's this sign that says no trespassing. Well, we're 12 years old. That doesn't apply to us. So we keep on going. We're getting in the boxcars. We're up on the roof. We're inside. Playing cowboys and train robbers. All of a sudden, we hear this voice. Hey, what are you kids doing in there? I looked out at this boxcar. There was this Goliath-looking man who had a badge and a club on this side and a gun on this side. All right, you kids, get out of there. What the heck you doing in there? You know you're not allowed in there. So we jumped off. He grabbed us both by the scruff of the neck and walked us down to where he had an office. He put us in the office and said, grab a seat. So we sat down. He got to his seat, and this guy was cool because he got to his seat and he sat down, didn't utter a word to us, and started doing this paperwork. Well, we're sitting there, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to penitentiary. I'm going to jail. What's going on here? They're waiting to arrest me and put me in a penitentiary for life. What's going on? Hours pass. We're sitting there, hours pass. I'm talking 3 or 4 hours pass, and we're in dead silence, worried to death. I'm thinking, my parents, they're wondering, where the heck am I? Where am I? They're looking for me. Now it starts getting dark, and all this time we're sitting there, and I'm thinking, I'm going to jail. I'm going to eat bread and water for the rest of my life. Now, I'm 12 years old. I'm thinking about this. Finally, he got up and he said, what's your name? I said, Larry. Well, what's your name? Pete. All right, Larry, give me your phone number. I gave him a phone number. He got on the phone, called my house. My mother answered the phone. He got on, he had a conversation with my mother. He said, I'm bringing them home because they were on trespassing railroad property. So he puts us both in a truck. Drives us up. Now this is, drove up to the house, knocked on the door. My mother answered with a wooden spoon in her hand. My father was standing there with a strap in his hand. I'm thinking, oh man, I'm really gonna get it. You know, I'm really gonna get it. My butt's gonna be red by the time I can sit down. He had a conversation. My dad told me, go sit in the kitchen. Obedient little kid, I went and sat in the kitchen. And all the time I'm sitting there thinking, what's the consequence? Oh, they're going to beat the daylights out of me. My butt's going to be warm. All of a sudden, he leaves, and my parents come back in, and I'm waiting for the repercussion from this. My dad looked at me and said, "Go to bed." Well, I went to bed with no dinner because we were sitting in his office for 4 or 5 hours. So, the next day, I finally realized I was grounded for a whole week. And I looked out my kitchen window into Pete's backyard, and I never saw Pete. So I figured he was also grounded for another week. Now, to this day, whenever I see a no trespassing sign, I don't trespass because that's a flashback. I remember sitting in that office, scared to death, my knees shaking. So, a great lesson learned.